The GEEK Files, 2025, December 22nd. So the Panarctic oil camp in Ray Point, Melville Island, 75 degrees north. The circumference of the world is about 10,000 kilometers. That's like driving from Vancouver to Toronto and back, or for my European friends, that's like driving from Manchester to Rome and back twice. So what happens is weather builds up. It's got nothing to stop it. It's flat up there, and a weather cell can really scream around very quickly. So it's windy, it's flat. When I was there, it was overcast and cold. Man, I can't remember when in August. It was like mid-August or early August, and they're getting their first snowfall. It's a long gravel strip because they landed 737s and Electras up there. So it's a beautiful flat strip, well maintained, but wild. And you can really taste the salt in the air. So I think we got a day of work in, and then weather set in for 2 days, and then the fog, really heavy fog. And then when Dean and Greg went out to start up the Caribou, the right-hand engine had a massive mag drop. So aircraft engines have two spark plugs. On radial engines, it's a front and a rear plug. The rear plugs tend to be more sensitive. They drop out. So when you do a run up, you're on both front and rear plugs, and then you switch from one set of plugs to the other from the front plug to the rear plugs. And if the RPM drops, there's a range that the RPM can drop. It's called a mag drop. And the right-hand engine had a massive mag drop on the rear plugs. Okay, that's not a big deal. Working for Calm Air on the DC-4s and doing bay runs, we carry a spare set of plugs just for this. I probably carry a set of fronts, enough to do a whole engine. So I go in and I get them out and go to do the spark plug change. And Ken Borick, not being radial engine people and not really having anyone there that was a real radial engine person, didn't realize that the spark plug harnesses, so spark plugs, because they are a sparking gap, put out a lot of electronic noise. So what they do is you shield them. You have the spark plug wires lead through a harness, and then the harness screws to the top of the spark plug, and that creates grounding so that it hides all its electrical noise. Well, because there are two different size of harness nuts for the top of spark plugs. I think it's 3/4 and 5/8. And Ken Borick, when they ordered the new engine, didn't order it with the same harness size. And I only had a set of spark plugs for the other harness size. So here we are, we're stuck. Like, there's no way that we can swap out or move around spark plugs. These things are just dead. And so I have to order up a set of spark plugs that have to be flown in. I think they flew into Resolute and then over to Resolute? Resolute, and then there's a weather station at Resolute, I think, and they flew over to us. Very, very expensive spark plugs, which naturally spooled up Mr. Pennigan. Why don't you do this, and why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? And it's just like, because I couldn't, you know. I only have so much time to go through all this stuff and all these spares, because I never really went through the spares. I just assumed that, wrongly, that the people that I was replacing had it within them to not make these sort of really fundamental bush mistakes. So there we were. Man, I think for $400 worth of spark plugs, it was like $3,000 worth of shipping costs. Yeah. Actually, I think the boys from Res flew them over for free, because it was a government, and they were out hopping around doing government stuff for weather stuff. Anyway, so it was just fun for them to slip into a ray point. Anyway, got the spark plugs changed, and away the boys went, and they flew the rest of the contract.